Here's the exact framework to scale your coaching business to $50,000 per month. And no, it's not about creating more content. It's by fixing the one thing that no one talks about. So let me walk you through exactly how to do it. The first step in any process is doing audience and market research. Because if you don't know who your audience is, you don't know how to help them, and you don't know what kind of offer to create for them. So the goal is to know your audience better than they know themselves. Now, how do you do that? Well, analyze who's engaging with your content. And there's a few things you can look out for. First, figure out who is watching your content. Men, women, why are they watching your content? Do they want to be entertained? Are you teaching them something? What are you teaching them? What is their current pain? What are core problems, frustrations? What's the ideal outcome that they are looking to get through your content? What are some values or beliefs that they hold? And remember, this is the foundation of everything. None of the other steps will work unless you do proper audience and market research. Now, how can you actually do that? Well, my favorite way is to use Instagram stories. You can use ChatGPT to generate relevant questions, and then you create polls and questions to figure out what your audience actually likes. And these people that actually respond to your stories, message them, ask them to hop on a call, figure out what are they struggling with, what is their pain, how can you actually help them. So there's another way. You could do it via YouTube. You just create a type form with some questions, grab their name, their email, and you should look to get maybe 30 to 50 responses so you have a deep understanding of your audience. And there's another way to do it, and that is competitor research. So you look at what your competition is doing, you identify what mistakes they're making, what gaps they might be leaving, who are they targeting, how are they positioning their offer. Look at their content, look at their funnel, look at their pricing, and you can ask yourself what you can do differently. And with all these methods, you're going to get a deep understanding of who your actual audience is, and this is going to allow you to move to the second step, and that is the offer creation and positioning. The goal here is to create an offer that your audience desperately needs and is willing to pay a lot of money for. Now, before you create your offer, you have to make sure you actually have a market that wants your offer. And you can do that by analyzing four things, and that is, does your market have a massive pain? Is the service that you're selling a massive pain? So is it something that actually keeps your audience, your ICP, up at night? For example, a bad marriage. If you have a bad marriage, you're not going to sleep as good as if you were in a good marriage. If you're fat, unhealthy, overweight, you're not going to sleep as good, and you're going to have pain. The second indicator of a good market is purchasing power, because no matter how good your offer is, if your audience cannot afford it, you're not going to make money. You're not going to be able to sell them your program. You're not going to be able to help them if they don't have money. So, for example, unemployed people are a bad market. Another important thing is that your market is easy to target. Is there a special place that they hang out online, a specific Facebook group, a certain YouTube channel? Where does your ideal client spend a lot of time online, and how can you reach him? Now, the fourth indicator of a good market is the market growing? And this is not necessarily a must, but growing markets make everything easier. So eventually you won't be able to outrun a shrinking market. Like if you look at newspapers, for example, no matter how good the newspaper is, in 10 years, nobody's going to be looking at a newspaper anymore. And that's just a fact because the market is slowly dying. Let's look at how you can actually create a valuable offer. And there's a formula from Alex Hormozi, and it's pretty simple, but it makes so much sense. And that is dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay multiplied by effort and sacrifice. So the goal is to increase the top half of the equation and to decrease the bottom half. So let's look at a fitness coaching, for example. The dream outcome in this case would be your dream body. Now, the perceived likelihood of achievement. When you're creating your fitness offer, for example, how likely is it that your client actually achieves this goal? And how can you show him that it's very likely for him to achieve it? So this might be through you work with him one-on-one. It might be you call once a week. What can you do that the perceived likelihood of him actually achieving his dream outcome is enormously high? The time delay, how quickly can you get him this result? So is it going to take 3 years or is it going to take 3 months? And how much effort does he actually have to put in? If you can create an offer that has a great dream outcome, a very high chance of you actually achieving it with a short time delay and little effort and sacrifice for your customer, that offer is going to be valuable. In the end, it all comes down to just creating the bridge between their pain and their desires. So if they have pain, let's say they're fat and they want to be fit, your offer, your coaching, whatever it is, it has to be the bridge from him going from pain to arriving at his ideal outcome. So how can you create something that will serve as the bridge from pain to desire? If you can create that bridge and all the client has to do is walk over the bridge, your offer is going to be so valuable. In terms of pricing, you should always charge a lot of money for your offer, but you should never charge more than your offer is worth. So in the end, people don't really care about what the price is in comparison to the value they get. So let's say you buy a coaching for $2,000, but this coaching is going to teach you how to make $15,000. If you compare that, the coaching for the price for $2,000 is actually cheap because you're not spending 2,000, you're actually making 15 grand. So what matters is that your coaching, your offer is so good that they don't care about the price because the value supersedes the price by tenfolds. So you could do that by adding bonuses, guarantees. You have to make the offer so good there, it would be stupid to say no to your offer. Quick example of a good positioning statement and a bad positioning statement. So a good positioning statement would be, we help fitness coaches grow to 10K a month in 90 days without using paid ads. So that's very specific. You're targeting fitness coaches. You're telling them exactly what you're going to do. You're going to help them grow to 10K a month in 90 days, and you're going to do it without paid ads. So that sounds like a pretty good offer. A bad offer or a bad positioning statement would be something vague like, we help people make more money online. Who's your ideal client? You can automatically see that this offer here, that this positioning statement did not go through proper market research, because you don't know what pain point you're actually solving. You don't know what dream outcome your ICP actually wants. So again, proper market research is the foundation. And once you have the foundation, once you have your offer, it's time to move to the next step, and that is your content strategy and funnel. The goal here is to build content that naturally drives people into your funnel and eventually leads them up the value ladder to make money. So what does that actually mean? The first step is figuring out where or how aware your audience is. Are they completely unaware, or are they super aware of their problem? Figure out at what stage they are on and help them move towards the top. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to create content that actually speaks to their pain, speaks to their desires, and helps them move upwards your value ladder. So we're going to get to that later, but what you need to understand right now is that every piece of content needs to be intentional. When you're creating a video, don't just create a video for the sake of creating a video. Look at what the intention of the video is. Are you trying to teach something? Are you trying to get eyeballs? Are you trying to make them aware of the pain? Are you trying to make them aware that there's a solution? Think about what kind of outcome or what kind of action your viewer is supposed to take after watching your content, and keep that in mind while creating the content, so that it is intentional content that will actually attract and lure people into your funnel. Now, there's a general rule in marketing, and that says one funnel, one offer until you reach 7 figures. To break this down in simpler terms, usually when you're struggling to scale, it's not because your offer is not good. It might be because you have too many offers. You're offering too many things. You have too many funnels. Focus on perfecting one offer, perfecting one funnel, and actually moving people up your value ladder. Now, the value ladder is actually just a visual representation of the amount of value you give and the amount of money you charge. So, for example, right here, you have your free offer, which is usually your content. You give them a decent amount of value and it costs them nothing. And your goal is to walk them up the funnel, up the value ladder, to eventually buying your offer, which costs a lot more money and gives them so much more value. It's the solution, it's what they dream of at night. This is going to help them. So that is what your goal is. And let's look at a basic VSL funnel, a video sales letter funnel that works well for YouTube. And you create a YouTube video around a specific problem, let's say fitness. Then you have a link in your bio that leads them to an opt-in page where they can maybe download a free fitness guide. They put in their contact information so that you can actually send them emails, you can send them newsletters, you can SMS them, you can call them. And after they put in their information, they're going to get redirected to a VSL, a video sales letter. And the goal of this 2 to 3 minute video usually is just to tell them, what you're actually offering, how you can help them, and break limiting beliefs around that topic so that they're actually willing to buy from you. So if the VSL was good, they're going to want to book a call. And after they booked a call, this is very important. This is one of the most important steps that most people in the info space get wrong. After they booked a call, you need to nurture the hell out of them. So you need to give them information. You need to shower them with testimonials. You need to give them so much information that by the time they get on the call, they're already pre-sold. So if you do this properly, you're not even going to have a real sales call. All you have to do is pick up the phone, talk to them, and they're going to want to give you their money because they know you can help them. I could make a whole video about the pre-call nurturing, but we're not going to get into that right now because we're going to move to the next step in scaling your offer, and that is the sales process and KPI tracking. So your goal is to convert consistently and know exactly what's working. And you do that by creating a system, a real sales process that will automatically take your viewer, your audience, from viewer to client. And the best way to do this is to have a clear step-by-step process all the way from watching content until the first payment. During that entire process, you need to be tracking everything. You need to be tracking how your content is performing. How's the engagement on your content? How many people actually watch your video sales letter? How many people opt in? How many people hop on a call? How many can you close? How many will refund? You need to diagnose like a doctor and find out exactly how and where you can improve. And the best way to do that is to create like a very detailed dashboard. So this is just an example, but you need to be able to see and track every KPI of your funnel. You need to track your content because this is really important. If you can't manage to track everything, you're not going to be able to move to the next step, which is actually scaling and automating this. Because once you have a systemized process, you can actually scale from 10, 15, 20K to 50, 60, 100K. And that only works if you have a real process, because if you don't have a process, you can't scale. Now, once your audience has been researched, you know exactly who your audience is. You have a really compelling offer that helps your clients, your audience, solve a big pain point. You have a funnel that consistently converts and you're tracking all your KPIs. You just need to scale that. And you scale that by looking at what works and doubling down on that, and looking at what doesn't work and eliminating that. So it's that simple actually, because first when you reach this stage here is when you're going to be able to remove yourself from the actual operations and outsource things like follow-up calls or sales calls in general to a team. Now I know this was a lot, but if you want help doing this, I'm Justin from Arcane Ops, and we help content creators turn their audience into a scalable, predictable business within 30 days or less. And if you want to work with me, comment your Instagram username and we're going to check out your funnel and see if you're a good fit to work with us. And if you are, we're going to reach out to you. But other than that, I hope this video helped you and gave you a good idea of what to do. And I'll see you in the next one.